What's up, everybody? This is Enlightened Masculinity, my podcast. I'm YogiChris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation. And I live here at IMC Base 1, the Stoic Temple on YouTube. And this is the home base for IMC Nation operations. I live with the founder, AZD, who is world-class, top of the planet at what he does. And he's got a program called the Dragons Lair. And that's kind of what I'm talking about on this episode. Some orienting pieces of information that will help orient you in the Dragons Lair. And then moving on, I'll talk a little bit about the trip to Las Vegas. At that point, when I start going into that, I'm going to cut off the free streams for YouTube and Instagram. So if you want to hear those juicy details, then you got to be in the show on Zoom here, which is not allowed for women. So if you're a woman, you want to know the details, then get close to me and I'll tell you everything. All right. And then without going too much further, because this is for Enlightened Masculinity, people that come to this episode should probably hear a little bit about EM, Enlightened Masculinity, a red pill podcast show. We have over 270 episodes, lots of great information. So much of it is a translation of what I've learned from AZD, Arash Sapardee. And you should know that the whatever greatness I have in my speech, my storytelling, my oratory skills, whatever, the information that I share, so much, it's at some point, because I've done so many of these shows. Guys, remember, I'm like 7 years in this thing that I've been studying this stuff. I'm a guy that was 12 and a half years in university. I got one engineering degree, then I got another engineering degree, then I got a PhD in engineering, and then I decided to not look back. I'm also that guy that didn't read any books growing up. I read my first book, I read chapters or whatever. I cheated in school, so I never read those books. The first book I read was at 23. I'm 36 now, 13 years ago. That's when I read my first book. Okay, so I already had a degree. I already had a bachelor's degree in engineering. I never read a book. I've read things in books, but I hadn't read a book. And so maybe that gives some hope for people out there. I'm 7 years in this studying of AZD and IMC Nation. It was AD when I started. There was no Z. And what I would say, so I've been streaming a lot. In that process, I learned that, and I mean, really learned. It's not like somebody said, here's some notes on a chalkboard, and then you write it down like I learned that thing. That's not what I mean. I mean, I changed inside my understanding that if I want to really get this stuff, one key ingredient is streaming. Not for growing your audience or for the business of it, but for you to take that information in the head, in the mind, and channel it through your system so that you make it make sense to the outside world. Ideally with a live audience that they can nod along or you squint at you in skepticism or, type replies or something. You get a real live audience that you say this stuff to, get their agreement. And in the process of getting that to happen, you develop your understanding of it, your, how sincere, how real you have it for yourself. And so I did so much of that. At some point, I stopped really giving credit, because I would often say, I learned this from Vince, or I learned this from Arash, or I learned this from so-and-so. Now I still say that if it's peculiar, I learned this from David Garrigues, or I learned this from beingness or whatever. I learned this from Maharishi. And so much, I also create information, as I lecture or my ongoing studies. It's just, there's so much parroting of AZD's information in what I talk about. Or even better than parroting, because parroting would just you hear it, you say it the same way. There's so much in what I say that comes from AZD that it just wouldn't make sense to say, and this is from AZD, and this is from AZD. So what I say is AZD's my mentor. That transition happened 3 or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago even. I was instead of just saying every time I say something that's like AZD, I'm just going to say AZD's my mentor, and so much of what I say comes from him. So all shout out to AZD. So AZD has a program called the Dragons Lair. And new people are joining each day. And I'm starting to do onboarding calls with these guys to get them oriented. They don't have a clue. They remember, I talked to a guy today that had been watching his YouTube since 2009. It's 2022 right now. So 13 years he's been watching his YouTube. And again, as in many people, they're thinking and they say it out loud. They're I've been studying AZD for 9 years. I've seen everything. Or 12 years. I've seen everything. Bro, you've missed everything. You saw all the freebie stuff that's watered down, made available for the public. So much of it's been taken down for censorship. You don't get the real raw communication with that. So you're getting interesting datums, But now you're joining the Dragon's Lair, which is still cloaked. It's still hiding the most advanced information for the reasons of what it is. There's a power in communication that it amplifies whatever you got going on for yourself. If you got out ethics going for yourself, where you take advantage of people in little ways, you may think of yourself as a good person, and many other people might think of you as a good person. But if you have a car, let's say a vehicle, and it's going at 60 miles an hour, and then you speed it up to 360 miles an hour, you're going to see where things about that vehicle it doesn't have the integrity for that. A 600-mile-an-hour vehicle can still drive at 30 miles an hour. But if you try to make a 30-mile-an-hour vehicle go at 600 miles an hour, it might rip to pieces. It might start to hover off the ground a little bit and then crash. It may warp this way or that way. The tires may not have grip. Like, it's not designed for that kind of power behind it. And that's what it is with a lot of people. You get the AZD tech, which is a deep understanding of genetics, genetic psychology, subconscious communication, real, like, conscious psychology, traumas. I mean, that's all part of it, because in relationships, business, or obviously in intimate relationships, like, you just need understanding of that so you can master that world. You need to have mastery over yourself. This doesn't mean you're like perfect, unemotional, whatever, as if unemotional is perfect, but like, it's not that you have so much control of yourself. You just need so much awareness, and of course awareness of her, to get along, to keep it going. Awareness of the mating code. So not just like psychologically intellectualizing her, but like, what are the gestures, mannerisms, the sound bites, just communications that you need for her fulfillment, is going to give you so much awareness of human psychology, of men, that it's like speeding up a 30-mile-an-hour car to 300 miles an hour. You may not be designed for that. You have elements of your lifestyle, of your ways of thinking, your frames of mind about men and women, about children, about old people, culture, your own history, the meanings of things, religion. You have so many ideas and beliefs in you, government. I mean, we just go on, that if you speed it up and put a lot of horsepower behind it, it's going to fall apart because it's not integrated enough. And you might think I'm just throwing those words out there because, I don't know, maybe you just don't see AZD as that world class. I'm telling you, it's like the monkey sold his Ferrari. You're looking at the world champion who just is walking around as if he were a commoner. So it doesn't draw too much attention to him, because makes the relationships, it's a risk when you have so much attention on you like that. His life is one that has those relationships as a central theme. It's the thing he values the most, not just with his girlfriends, but with family, with friends and allies, with his hometown and community. And that's who you're learning from. So Dragon's Lair is an entry-level program to that. And it's so much above YouTube. I would love to hear anybody, like, I don't know if Sean here on Zoom, if you're subscribed to Dragon's Lair. Kenjo, I know you've been on for a little while. Aways, I think this is your first time in AZD program. So that would be an interesting perspective. The difference between Dragon's Lair and YouTube. Because speaking from my level, the potency and the information, there is a similar potency. I took hella notes on the YouTube video blogs. There's so much great, and it's all coming from the world champ. The world champ is speaking. It's going to be great information. There's just, when you get into the paid program, there is difference. And I would love to hear your guys' take on it. If you want to raise your hand to unmute about that. I'll keep going though. In my take on it, definitely the censorship of language, the censorship of true opinions about men and women, that there's some generalities given in the YouTube video blogs. But when you join the program, it's a freedom of being in this men's group, guys with their cameras on that are participating, that have paid to be there. So they have a vested interest in it succeeding. There'll still be some guys that are just looky-loos, or guys that are just photocopiers. They're coaching in their own way. They're doing men's coaching, and they're just coming and taking the information and going and coaching and not giving any credit, never showing up live, watching the recordings, whatever. That's why there's a cutoff of the information. The guys got to come to the gathering if they want the real juicy stuff, the techniques that are going to give them the edge over other coaches in the world. And that's going to be not really feasible for guys that are just trying to copycat, because it's too expensive. They're going to pay $600 just to get those techniques to go and coach it. You can, and you will make a lot of money off of that if you so chose. The problem is they have an ego thing about their students are going to leave them to go to study with AZD, which is a fact also. So but if you want the long-term best strategy for yourself, then you would do that. You would make that exchange. And I'll bet if a bunch of students came from those followings and came to AZD and we found out about it, there would be some massive discount given to you. Probably promo, like you could do affiliate links and make money doing that. And that's what they should do. But they're off in their thinking. And it's just amazing how off people are in their thinking. As even guys that join the Dragon's Lair, like I said, if you try to put a bunch of horsepower behind them, they're going to fall apart. And that's a lot for a man to face, that he's not as put together as he thought he was. Give him 2 girlfriends and you'll see how not put together he is. That thing's just going to spiral out of control. It's like a tornado. It's just going to rip him apart. And so he'll adopt the strategy of dishonesty because it's actually easier to manage in the short term. It succeeds in the short term. In the long term, it's not going to work. This is the method of long-term working, but it takes more work, internal work, than people want to face. And that's why it's dripped to you. It's given to you in $97 increments until the value is built up so much inside of you that you're like, I gotta get the advanced teachings now. And then you go do that. And then it's still dripped to you in the most efficient way that's feasible right now, until you show me another man that's getting results similar and teaching and helping other men similar. And then you can say, well, his way is working better. There's nobody else's way that's working better that I've found. And I'm in communication with 1,000 guys and nobody's brought me anybody that's doing any better either. It's just people have settled for less for themselves. And they don't want to face that it's going to take $100,000, $200,000 investment to really get this stuff. No, I'll just $97. I'll get it. Yeah, you'll get early gains, like you start doing a workout or start doing yoga or whatever. You're going to get rapid gains early on, and you're going to think that's enough, and you'll leave and descend back into normalcy, as we've seen time and time again. And there's no exceptions to this. Or you'll come closer and get further into it. And how far you get, I tell you, it's very exciting being in my position, because I get to see guys like Master Myself, like Alex Cervantes Powerhouse. I get to see these guys grow on a similar path that I went, and in their own way, they have a unique thing, and I'm excited to see them create that. It took me 2 years, 2.5 years of studying AZD before I started to put out business for myself in collaboration with AZD. And then it took me probably 5 years, 4 years. It took me 4 years before I really started making money, where it was like supplementing my thing. So after 4 years of dedicated study with him, giving everything I had, that's when I started making money. And even then I was kind of breaking even until another 1.5 years. So after about 5.5 years, I started, wow, now I'm actually getting back some of what I put in. You know what I mean? Like, it's starting to be a net plus. And that was full on dedication for 5.5 years, applying all of myself. In the meantime, what did I do for 5.5 years? I still had to eat. So I was doing other jobs and everything, and, already accomplished so many things, but, it's just a different beast. You could be a world champion boxer, world champion wrestler, and then come to IMC Method and just fall apart. You're a rookie again, white belt. You don't even know. And so Dragon's Lair, $97 a month. The link will be in the description for this video after it's posted, and you can join through that. And there's 6 days a week lectures. You get all the recordings. It's very powerful. You get to join the Telegram group, soon to be on Discord. We're already on Discord. It's just not that organized. And I want people to know about these resources that we have. The white belt, the strategy of AZD is so much built on a schedule. And so learning just some nuances of how he runs his schedule is going to help you to duplicate that lifestyle for yourself. And I'm telling you, it's like if you changed your nutrition, it would still, like Master Myself is a fruitarian now. It's going to take years for that dietary habit to replace the nutrition in all of the cells of your body, bone cells and everything. But it's piece by piece, replacing a brick of the wall at a time, not the whole wall. You don't crash it down and rebuild it. That would be like dying and being born again. You can't, metaphorically we do that. Maybe spiritually, mentally we do that. But physically, you're still alive, right? So it takes time. With the schedule, you adopt that, and then you start to replace the habits of your day and upgrade them, and you'll keep upgrading them. You're not going to upgrade it, and that's the final thing. You upgrade it, and you upgrade somewhere else, and you return to the first thing you upgraded, you change it out, you rearrange it, you study Dragon's Lair, you'll see how he does it, And when you're in Dragon's Lair, I add you to the white belt program, and you'll see some of the over time, because you're only going to be able to observe what he's doing right now. He's not going to go back and refresh your memory of what he did 2 years ago. He's going to talk about what it is right now. And so when you see the evolution of it in the white belt program, the evolution of the schedule and the meaning behind it, the potency, why this and that, it will piece together for you how the top player on the planet does it. And the closer you get, you're just going to see, like, I just went on this road trip. I'm going to switch it out now. I'm going to change over to talking about Vegas and this next thing. It's a really great segue, actually. So I'm going to cut off YouTube and Instagram. You guys join the Dragon's Lair right away. And that's just, I want to guide you further, but I'm very selfish. I only want to be friends with the guys that are as committed as me. I said it to the guy on the orientation call. Powerhouse and I are very close. Master myself and I are very close. Prophet and I are very close. I admire Prophet so much because he's invested so much in IMC Nation with, up until now, not the biggest income. Like, his income was smaller than mine as a yoga instructor. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. He's doing what he can do in life, and he's going up, and like, his percentage commitment in IMC Nation might be the highest over me, over everybody. And you should know that. So that's about how much tolerance I have for you or you or you or anybody else that says, well, I just don't make enough money. Like, bro, are you kidding me? Not only me, but look at Miracle J. And then everybody, I think I push to maximum limits, and we push further. We stretch more. Whatever your maximum limit today is tomorrow it should be more. And those are the people that I want to be friends with, because we are, as we see in the base operations where we live together, at Vegas camp, at San Jose camp, whenever we do camps, the camaraderie and the closeness of the guys, the loyalty amongst the guys, even when there's problems, when there's difficulty, miscommunications, let's say, especially about women, like, dude, you talk to my girl or whatever, that kind of thing. Like, our ability to handle that is just revolutionary. And that only works with guys that are more and more committed. The less committed they are, the less they'll be able to confront situations, the less invested interest they'll have in solving it, and they'll go back to being a lone wolf where they can be unethical and get away with it. And that's what normal guys are out there that are living by themselves. So people will be entering. I'm going to be switching over to the next topic and talk for 10 minutes, and then we close it out, because the gathering, the advanced talk is tonight. So if you're not on the gathering, hit me up. What's up? It's one of my housemates, Fernando. Hit me up. It's called Carnival. This is going to be your unique language of attraction and developing that. It's going to blow your mind what we've done so far. All right, I'll see you guys. I'll close out Instagram and close out YouTube. And I'll go into it here with you guys. And this will be posted on the podcast. So whatever, I'm still not going to get that risky with it. If you want the more risque stuff, then I would say join the Silent Flute or join the gathering. And occasionally I do talks on the gathering. AZD asks me to do those talks. And I'm trying to think, what's the best way to really give the most risque information? Because even the gathering talks that I talk are going to be open. So I post it, but I do post those unlisted. So that's fine. I can go into all the dirty details there because I don't share it publicly. So what I talk about here publicly is that switching out of your schedule and the little calibrations that you get, the closer you get to AZD. So I was just driving to Vegas and back. My housemates were in the back, but it was me and AZD driving the whole way, because on the way there, we had 3 people in the back seat and we didn't want to scrunch together, AZD or I. So they got to scrunch in the back, and, you know, we paid for the vehicle. So we did the driving, which is fine because we also get music selection with that, which is really nice when you get to listen to your own music. And I tell you what, I leveled the fuck up in my ability to select music. That it's not that I'm trying to make it agreeable to everybody, but there's like a confidence in me about music, that I didn't have when we started the trip, and now I have more confidence in my selection. And I was able to tap into my own memories and my archive of music, because I'm not so exploring music like every day, all day and whatever. Music, if you look at the word, this is teaching from AZD, it's the art of thinking. And you can look it up yourself. It's actually more common than knowledge than you might think. And you really hear how someone thinks when you listen to their music. And of course, with AZD tech and our precise looking at language, it's difficult to listen to some songs that have like negative sounds, negative tonalities, negative messages, negative language. there's a certain vibe to music that transcends even the lyrics. And I got this more and more traveling with AZD, the more I've listened to his music taste, how he repeats songs, how he uses songs to amplify his energy and get into state. It's not as basic as just play a upbeat song or play a song loudly or play a popular song and just dance to it. That's probably a component to it. But the way he uses the music, the art of thinking, the music to create with his imagination a beingness and a demeanor, I learn more and more riding in the car with him. That's why the guys that come and do VIP, like Powerhouse did a private party with us last month. I insist, ride in the car with us. Get that, ride in the front seat. Get the conversation. Get how he calibrates the volume in the conversation. Get how he uses it to get into state of mind. As you create for yourself his lifestyle and you use his technology and his techniques to change yourself, you're going to open up so much potential in you that's going to allow you to help everybody around you on new and powerful levels. Instead of everybody, it's kind of like there was an old movie. It was about inner city Mexicans or whatever in Los Angeles. And it was called Stand and Deliver. I love this movie. This movie's dope. And I like this quote where the teacher, he's trying to help these inner city kids get like college credit or whatever. I mean, fuck college. But he had this quote where it was like, if you want to change the school around you, you have to start from the top, not from the bottom, where they're trying to pull everybody up from the bottom and make it. But when you do, you end up leaving the excellent students, the ones that would excel, you hang them out to dry because they don't have enough stimulus. He's like, if you want to change this school, if you want to change this community around, you start from the top. And, you know, maybe it's opinion, but I think I buy into that. I like that a lot because the people at the top, as they excel, everybody will be motivated and want to achieve that. But if you go at the bottom, everybody's comparing who's the worst and you get more of what you measure. Then the people at the top dry out or they go somewhere else or they become delinquents or whatever. We saw this in wrestling a lot too, where you didn't want to leave people behind. You see it in a lot of sports or whatever. It's a communistic mentality. And you know, starting at the top and those guys excel. Let's say, for example, you help everybody in IMC Nation and everybody gets a little bit better, but nobody really excels. They don't really get it. They don't get multiple relationships. They don't get free expression, free masculine speech, being alpha, being so creative, imaginative, and vivid in their communication. You know, so proud of their avatar, their confidence is godlike. Like you don't see anybody really duplicating AZD. And you just see a bunch of guys incrementally getting a little bit better. And you would think, well, eventually they'll get to AZD's level. Yeah, but then why hasn't that happened for 2 decades of him teaching? Everybody that got close blew off. They didn't have enough ethics to handle the horsepower behind their vehicle. They got too close too soon and without integrating. Of course, his teachings have evolved now for more of the tribal code. So maybe his teachings were insufficient at the time. Who knows? I don't know. And but if you just see 1 or 2 guys come along and in whatever amount of time, whatever amount of investment, they really duplicate this shit. They get it. So it's like, man, that's like a baby AZD almost. That's like a little AZD. Like I'm not there yet. I don't think. Some guys have commented that I am. I don't think you're seeing what's really happening here. Maybe you're judging my podcasting skills and I happen to be good at that or something. It's not even close. It's not even close, dude. And to any of my women that are watching this, don't even worry about it. I ain't insecure. Like you would be lost if you go to AZD. Like I don't have that insecurity. If you go to AZD instead of me, all power to you. And I hope you're happy. You can't come back. And I think you'll see what's going to happen. It's not going to go how you would think. So I don't have any problem shouting that out and saying that he's so much greater than me. I am so much greater than the women that are attracted to me. You don't need to go up to that mountain. This is sufficient mountain for you to climb right here. Trust me. And this is a growing mountain. So as you climb it, it keeps growing. That can be frustrating for the woman too. She's like, man, I'm barely even scaling. Yeah, because I'm growing so much. This is a never ending adventure for you, woman. Keep it up. This is worth it. This is going to be, because I'm going to be that duplicate. And it doesn't like, I'm not like a photocopy, but like you'll see. And this is that mentality. It's that selfish mentality. When you see someone excelling at a level comparable to AZD, that's going to motivate the nation versus everybody, because everybody is so far behind. It's just unreal. It's like the guy telling me today, I've been studying for a long time, 13 years on YouTube or whatever. I'm like, dude, people think they're learning from AZD. You just have those early gains. just got those early gains. Come around. Riding to Vegas and back, I was calibrating on a whole new level. I told him on the way to Vegas, I was like, it's like when we moved into that first original base one together, there was so much calibrations to my social dynamics. And even though it was lockdown, like the world wasn't even open to do social dynamics like that. But so much calibrating to his schedule, to the wake up, to the roll call, to the bedtime or sleep time or whatever, lockdown, being available for movements throughout the day. So many calibrate that were shocking to my system. When we were driving to Vegas and back, I could measure the difference. The way back was different. I had changed. The way there was agitation to this or that. Internal on the way back, there was even agitation internally about music selection or whatever. And I freed up so much. And I know there's a lot more freedom to be had. I'm just beginning. And we'll do more as we do these pilgrimages to Vegas and Los Angeles and Phoenix and wherever we end up going. There's just so much calibration that it's small, but it has compound effects in your life. I know this. This is the method. And as you get closer, as you join the Dragons Lair and you adopt some schedule, you study the white belt program, as you come to camps and you adopt a 2 lectures a day schedule, which helps you organize the rest of your life to that. And as you assimilate girls into your life, integrate them into your life and get them on the schedule with you. They have their own schedule and they're vibing and resonating with your schedule throughout the day. You're going to see the power generated in the lifestyle, and you'll see where you have decisions and beliefs that are pulling you off of that. The more and more you put this into put it into practice in your life. And for that reason, I recommend the gathering. I have more interest in you all developing when you're in the gathering. And I want to talk to you. I want your participation. We have a lot of behind the scenes in the gatherings now that will give you a deeper calibration and a more soft touch. It'll give you a softer touch to your communication when you hear how he dialogues with us off of lecture. And I'll open it up now. We have 4 minutes if there's any questions. I saw Master myself put his video on. I don't know if that means you want to participate. So open it up for a few minutes and I'll give my final thing. Going once, going twice. Okay. So these steps to communication is the ladder of growth here. It's really built on the study of the lectures, the readings that you do off of lecture, and coming in person, and what we call the private moment experience. So in Dragons Lair, you just study all those archives. Yeah, you bet. You're welcome. In Dragons Lair, you just study all those lectures. I have so many lectures under my belt. You just start to assimilate the syntax of how he talks, the vividness, the imagery. You get it more and more. You could listen to the same lectures over and over and you'd get more and more out of it. I don't recommend that because there's so many other lectures to watch. You just plow through them. You'll get what you can get and plow through them, come up to present time. And the gathering experience is more advanced, and coming in person is a more integrated experience of that advanced technology. Be around the tribe. It will calibrate you a lot, especially being here in his hometown, because this is much more similar to your experience in your hometown. There's few places like Vegas, Manhattan, South Beach, Miami, even there, nothing really compares to Vegas. Maybe somewhere else like Abu Dhabi or something, Prague, Bangkok. I don't even know. That in-person experience is going to adjust you. But when you do the private moment experience, it's only available in person right now until there's something remotely available, like someone forms a base in UK or Australia or something, and they want to do private moments, they can't fly over. Maybe we'll figure something out for online. Have good video, good camera, good audio, and we'll set it up real nice. Just pay a lot of attention. I'm sure AZD can give great feedback if the data stream is very good. And the private moment as a foundation, it's part of the skeleton of how AZD becomes creative, how AZD is relaxed in social situations, how he dissipates the aggression and violence in him and the demonstrations of lower value in his movement and his tension. As you eradicate that and uproot that and pull that out of you, and you progress on the techniques, private moments foundation, and then creation exercises and communing with nature and throwaway monologues. But all of those are private moments. That's going to develop your beingness so much. it's just going to be devoid of the tech. You need the lectures to get the tech of how to do the social communications and the calibrations and the texting back and forth and sex and all of those things that come with that. And, you know, you have to still be around the tribe, which would happen in private moments, but have to be around the tribe out socially to get some of the communications within the pack. So you get calibrated like that. If you really want to recreate AZD's lifestyle for yourself, the private moment is going to give you that social presence beyond what transcendental meditation will give you, beyond what learning pickup artistry is going to give you. It's going to give you that edge that AZD has. And that's the ladder of progression. So what do you have to do that? You need to get your money up. And how are you going to get your money up? Well, how I did it was, you know, working from about 24 grand a year. I got it up to about, I went down to about 12 or 14 grand the first year I did entrepreneurship and full-time after my PhD. And then I got it up to 32 grand. And that's about where I hovered. I was about to get it maybe up to 40 grand or so the next year, but I was fulfilled in my life. I just wanted more money, right? And then I started working for AZD. So what we have are these affiliate programs. I have an affiliate program that you could get a link and you could sell Dragon's Lair. I mean, sheesh. If you went out with the idea of picking up guys for Dragon's Lair, who knows? Maybe you could get a lot. If you went to social venues, or if you used your Fight Academy or your gym or wherever you knew guys, your high school, your Facebook, your social media, and recruited guys for Dragon's Lair, you could probably make a good supplemental income for yourself if you really went at it. If you went at it in a way that you don't give a fuck about any of those relationships, if they don't join Dragon's Lair, fuck them. Then you could probably get a bunch of signups. And that's about how much money I was making when I started working with AZD. Like fully working. Remember, I said for the first year and a half working with him, I wasn't making diddly squat. So you could drag your feet like that. I was committed to my other two businesses also. I had 3 jobs for that year and a half, or even for more, for about 2.5 years. And so that's an out, you know, that's a means. Well, I also have other opportunities with growing with TikTok or whatever. You get a lot of leads. I'll teach you how to sell and you could grow. I mean, that's what I can offer. And I think that's what's going to be best. Otherwise, you know, we have guys that can offer occupations and jobs or whatever and get your money up. It's never going to be enough because you all have debt. You all want to help out your family. You want to buy this and that for yourself when you finally have money. And that's why I think really fully sacrificing yourself and exchanging all you got and investing to learn the tech of AZD and then turning around and using the tech that you learned from AZD to make more money is the way to go. You got to use the tech. You got to make money using the tech somehow. When you can make that connection, then you have a means to unplug yourself like I have. And I would wish that for all of you. I don't know that you've all fully committed as much as you can. Many of you have, and many of you have a little bit more to go, and maybe more to go. Who knows? It's up to you. And, you know, I'm here selfishly for myself. I'm here selfishly for myself. I want the lifestyle for myself. I'm here to push anybody that is willing to be pushed to excel and grow how I have. And in the meanwhile, I will look out for number one. And I've integrated myself with IMC Nation and AZD so that when I do better, AZD does better, the nation does better, and then all of you do better. And so ethically, I'm very integrated so that my selfishness is pro-survival for everybody. And I would recommend that for you also. That's an AZD belief from the Prometheus teachings. And all right, so it's 6:53. We have 7 minutes before gathering. I recommend everybody sign up, imcbase1.com. That's where you join the gathering. And I'll see you all on that next time. Os.